Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Novak. I just got an email about an individual who was upset because he watched a video yesterday of Aquarium Co-op. I'll leave a link below so you can click on it. I leave even a timestamp on it. It's about 1 minute into the video. And someone asked a question on Aquarium Co-op because he's celebrating 800,000 views. How about a whole show about plenums and anoxic filters? And the individual who says that, Jack of All Aquariums, he puts laugh out loud, laugh out loud. And this individual who sent me an email, which I won't say who they are or anything because they asked for their privacy, was very upset of what Aquarium Co-op said. And the person who sent me this email says he's watched all my shows at least twice. And he is a member of Aquarium Co-ops, and he's paid his $5. I guess you have to buy into the membership, join his membership. And Corey, the owner of Aquarium Co-op, said last night on live YouTube, I have zero interest in the anoxic filtration system. And he writes to me, I thought he was a person who cared about what happens to fish in the aquarium business. But I see now he's a person only for profit. He goes on with more, but basically that's what he said, how disappointed he was in Corey with 800,000 people saying this because he thought he was a guy who really cared. He thought he was a guy who really cared about the hobbyist individual. He thought he was a guy who really didn't think money was priority, even though he makes quite a lot of money, even though he engulfs a lot of YouTube stations that pushes items and are part of his YouTube cabal, if you want to say, a part of the Aquarium Co-op. And these stations, every time they do a video, mention one of his products that he sells. But even with all that, he never thought the man put fish second and profit first. He realized last night Corey puts profit first above everything else. This is his holy grail. How much money can he make? Because you would think somebody who put fish first would say, you know what? Let's find out about this anoxic filtration system. How does it work? Can I use it? Can I implement it in one of my aquariums or have a system that can use it? Anyhow, no, it was just zero interest. It's been out for 40 years. He's got zero interest to it. That doesn't make sense. However, misinformation and hobbies and stuff comes out all the time where people purposely do things to hurt a hobby or to hurt, you could say, not a hobby, but a product so they can make more money. We had the Green Thumbs Club is a club here where I live for plants and things like that. And we had a professional come in and knew everything about orchids. Okay, he was like the professional here in Florida. He told us a story that at one of the shows in New York, one of the greenhouse growers came in and were telling people to put ice cubes on their orchid, around their orchid, so the water will feed the orchid, keep it moist, because orchids come from the tropics and they have high humidity requirements. And anyone who's bought an orchid, especially if I bought one like up north, my orchids never lived. They flowered for quite a while. They are very beautiful, and then after that, they basically died. Here in Florida is all different. I have orchids for years now that are flowering several times and are living just fine. They love the humidity, they love the heat, and no, I don't put ice cubes on their pots to water them. Well, he came up, the speaker did, to this particular individual who was pushing this and said, why are you pushing this? These are tropical plants. No, they cannot take that. They're going to die if you put ice cubes around the base of the plant. He says, you know they're going to die. And he laughed and said, yeah, I know that. He said, then I'll come back and buy more. So this is how this individual looked at things. He didn't care about the plants that he was growing. He only cared about the profit and how much more profit could he make with misinformation. This is a true story. This particular individual the next year wasn't invited back to the Orchid show there in New York, which I guess is a big show. He wasn't invited back because the guy said he realized he did not care about the plants. He only cared about one thing, profit. And this individual who wrote me this is very disappointed in Corey because he cares about one thing, profit. He doesn't care about misinformation. And if that misinformation makes him a profit, that's perfectly fine with him. Why tell anybody anything that's maybe going to cut into your profits? You see, when you make an aquarium and you throw your substrate at the bottom of the aquarium, you only have a 25% chance of success. They don't want to tell you that. They want to tell you, well, I know a lot of people that have been successful and use it, but you got a 25% chance. Using a plenum or an anoxic filter, you got about a 90% chance of success. You got a 10% of non-success. And in most cases, I have found out with people who use BCB anoxic filters, like for their ponds and stuff, always did something wrong. We would go over there, look at their ponds, look what they did. They always did something wrong. They always said, oh, I thought if I did this, it would become better. And it's like, no, you found out it didn't become better, did you? A lot of research has went into this, and no, it's not better. You actually heard it, and that's why you're not being successful. And they had to redo things. That's the same way with making a plenum. It's very simple, very easy to do. I have lots of videos on it, and you will be successful, which I have shown you. I've set up tanks, very, very successful tanks. No reason to take them down. But it's a shame that this individual has finally realized, and like I feel, he says, I feel we should do everything in our power to do right by them, which he means fish, or for that matter, any animal that is under our care. And I believe the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you have a dog, cat, a canary, an aardvark, a hippopotamus. If it's under your care and you're going to play God with that animal, then you should do everything in your power to make sure that animal is taken care of, no matter what it takes. Otherwise, don't have a pet. Pets are big responsibility. Like they said, the number one pet that's the most abused pet of all, besides fish, are turtles. They said you can't believe how many people buy turtles and they wind up getting fungus on them and things like that because people wind up biting off more than they can chew with how much maintenance a turtle needs, an aquatic turtle, keeping their water clean and stuff like this. And they said it's a big problem with deformities, not getting the right foods, fungus, everything else with turtles. Fish, you wouldn't believe how many fish die, even in professional aquariums. Public aquariums, you wouldn't believe how many fish wind up dying. So I thought I would do this video to let you know. I will leave a link below in case you want to watch Aquarium Co-Op's one of 800,000. I hear on my subscribers here, I have about 10,000 subscribers. I thought that was a lot. It's nowhere comparable to 800,000. You can imagine a person that has that many subscribers, the power they have to get information out to the public, and yet they don't want to do it. They just say, I have no interest in that. Why? It's science. It's the way things work, but you have no interest in it. Does this really sound familiar with this pandemic? Does it really sound familiar? Where we had alternative drugs we could take. Basically, some of them are sold right off the shelf that actually could have helped with this COVID-19, and it was kiboshed right off the bat. And we were told constantly on the news media that no, you can't use hydroxychloroquine and you can't use any of these that are out there because they cause all kinds of problems, even though they've been out for years and years and years. Some of them are sold over the counter just so big pharma companies could make tons of profit. And we're not talking millions of dollars. We're talking like $15 billion Pfizer made off of the vaccine when you had things like hydroxychloroquine and stuff like that that were used by doctors all over the United States, all over the world, saying that, hey, I cured patients from all ages, and it worked. If you catch it in time, and proof is in the pudding, monoclonal antibodies that were being given here in Florida saved over 160,000 lives, and yet the President of the United States pulled the plug on it from DeSantis. So you can't get these monoclonal antibodies. He had stations all over Florida because he cared about the people. You're sick, go in, get the monoclonal antibody. Within a few days, you're better. Wow, doesn't that sound great? Now you can't do that. So we see now with this pandemic what profits mean to people. It means so much that getting the information out to the people that maybe could save your lives, and in this case, save our fish's lives, is not existent because they don't want it to get out. They're not even interested in telling you about it. They're not interested in the science. They're not interested anyway. They are going to badmouth it, which is being done on other YouTube stations, channels, only because they fear. They fear what they don't know, but they also fear, and then they make up stuff. I had a guy once, I'll tell you this is true. I was on a forum, and he said, oh, no, you can't use BCB baskets in a pond. It'll turn your pond all orange from the laterite. Really? I've never had my pond turn orange from laterite. In fact, I've never had any of my aquariums turn orange from using laterite. Never. So I finally found this individual. I found who said it, found out who he was. He owned a pond building business. And he said that, just made it up to scare people so they wouldn't use it. He did not want people to use an anoxic filter on their ponds because it will cut into his profits. That means you're not going to be buying re-inoculation chemicals every spring. You're not going to be buying his chemicals, sludge removers. You're not going to be buying all that stuff. You're not going to have him sell you a filter. The only thing in 30 plus years of owning my pond I ever had to buy is I bought some iron, liquid iron, and I had to buy a pump. Now, who makes money off of a person like me? You don't. My fish don't die. Now, they die, fish die, don't mistake me. You can have 100 fish, and in 1 year, you could lose 2, 3, 4 fish. That's very common. But you're not losing your whole tank. Your whole tank is not crashing after a year or two. It crashes where you're losing all your fish. As you see the pictures I have been showing you, it's all about the animals. You know, it's not just about plants. And then if you want to get into the plants, you've seen my videos. You don't want plants that are going to wind up dying on you. You don't want plants that are full of algae. And you don't want to have to tear down your tank. And that's the whole purpose if you just want plants and you're not so much into the fish. but you still want your plants to live, right? We all do. So I try to teach you how, why, and how simplified it is. And like I said, the hobby becomes a little boring now. They don't want the hobby to become boring. They always want you to fight for your life, to constantly be thinking, what new product I need to buy, what new chemical I need to put in. Why are my goldfish dying? I need to buy another chemical. They're not healing up. They should heal up. If something happens to them, they should heal up if your conditions are right. That's what they want. This is how they make their money. We all went through it. When we were younger, starting out in the hobby, you were always buying tetracycline. You were buying all these chemicals constantly. You were buying these. And this is what they want. This is how they make their profits. So the individual was very distraught over this, that he found out that Corey is nothing but a businessman who cares about one thing. He doesn't care about science. He doesn't care about anything. He cares about how much money he can make. Where he has the audience, where he can really show people how to do things and maybe get this whole aquarium trade on a better track than what it is. And the track that it's on right now is we repetitively do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's what we're doing right now. And a lot is being hidden from the hobbyists and not being told to the hobbyists, so they will keep on that same path. Where this channel does not do that. I tell you exactly how it is. I tell you how it works, why it works. I set it up for you. I know why it works. Your professional aquariums, public aquariums, know why it works, what they have to do to keep it working. As I said, they stir the substrate up. If it's on the bottom, it's a thick substrate, they stir it up constantly. Unless they have animals that can go in there and keep the substrate stirred up and keep the oxygen going into the substrate, plus keep from going with fermentation processes in the substrate. Anyhow, I thought I would do this video. I have a link below in case you want to listen to his answer. I watched it. He does say exactly that. I have zero interest in it. Really? That's terrible. All I got to say is Corey ought to be ashamed of himself. 800,000 viewers. He ought to be ashamed of himself. He even said that in public. But that's the way it is. This is a money-making business for these people. I don't make any money. I just teach people. That's all I do. I just teach people this is what the science is. This is what we know as scientists. This is how it has to be done. We know how natural systems work. We are just trying to make a natural system in our aquariums. We know why it works. That's all I am. I don't sell products. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribers, I have about 10,000 subscribers. Not a lot, not compared to somebody like Corey, but for me, 10,000 subscribers is quite a lot for this specialty channel. Anyhow, until next time, this is Dr. Novak. Thank you very much for watching.